Oh, I love it. Thank you for having me. I've never spoken in a cooler place in my life. I cannot believe I'm in a hockey arena in Edmonton, Canada.
What? Gang, what's up? Aaron, Canadian loony. Canadian federal politics are absurd, that's for sure. You've clicked the thumbnail, you read the title. Let's see what the full story is really all about. Let's kick it off.
Which kind of adds to the authenticity of it. Go Theo Fleury. Thank you. I am thrilled to be here. Alberta, that's exactly right. Al Freakenberta, as we call it. I was so excited to be here that I actually called the CBC and I said, I'm in town, which they were aware of, and I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to talk to as many Canadians as possible. And we talked to a very nice guy. I think he's new there. And he's like, sure. And we called back and we were speaking in Calgary earlier and they had a CBC guy there. And I said, look, I would love to talk to the CBC. I'll answer any question you like, and I dare you to put it on TV. No. And I wasn't just outraged because there's a state media organization that's totally opposed to free speech, which is a little weird since the media should be the defenders of the things that, make their careers possible. But it also offended me personally because I feel like I have some ownership of the CBC, not because I'm a Canadian taxpayer, but because I am secretly, and I never reveal this, part Canadian. And I am. And I wouldn't say this, honestly, to an audience in Los Angeles or New York or Denver, because I don't want to be singled out, or treated differently. But it's actually true. My dad's family's from Nova Scotia. And we had a place in Nova Scotia my whole life until a few years ago when we sold it to a guy called Gerald Cotton, who mysteriously died sort of colitis in India with the keys to like $1 billion in Bitcoin. And the New York Times called me and suggested I was in on his Bitcoin scam, which for the record, I'm not. But anyway, I have ties to this country and I've spent a lot of my life coming here and I just love it. And that's why I'm here. And I mean that. And I like Canada because I understand what Canada is, and it's not, I'm not attacking Toronto, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. By the way, I mispronounce all Canadian names just to infuriate people and see if I can make them laugh, but they never do. I'm in Alberta, Calgary, Ottawa, in Canada, and no one ever, thank you for laughing. I love that. Everyone accused the Canadians of being humorless. They're just too polite to laugh in public, but thank you. And I called it Ottawa many, many times, and I would get these outraged, you don't even know enough about our country to pronounce the name correctly. And of course, it was intentional until I received a very sincere email from an Ojibwa First Nations leader who said, actually, it's called Ottawa. And they've been mispronouncing it all these years. I'm not making that up. And if you have any Ojibwa friends, ask them. It's Ottawa. So your creepy prime minister can put on the costumes of other cultures, but he doesn't really understand them. But I'll be honest, there are two things that I like about Canada, and both are totally sincere. This is not a pander. One, I like the physical country. I think it's the prettiest country in the world. And I mean that, and I've been all over it, and no one in Canada talks about it, actually. They talk about cool things about Canada, but they never mention the fact that it's prettier than Switzerland, and it's the second biggest country in the world, and there are only 40 million people in it. And I think that's the greatest ratio I can imagine. And I hear your friends in Ottawa saying, we've got to make this country as packed as Bangladesh because, a crowded country is a happy country. And I think to myself, you're really sick, actually. I've been in places in Labrador and northern Quebec that I'm not sure another human being has ever been to. Your mountain's not far from here. You go there and there's like not another person around, just you and what God made. And it's just the most inspiring, edifying experience. And If I were Prime Minister of Canada, I would take some public lands and I would allocate them to the entire 40 million who live here. And I would say, everybody gets 6 acres. And I command that you spend at least a week there. I mean it. And get out of your little cube with your food delivery and your weed and your stupid internet service. And go sit in the dirt in God's most beautiful country and enjoy it. And then you'll understand what Canada is. I mean it. And go catch a trout. And you don't have to kill it, but catch it. And see the kind of fish or a walleye. You don't have to go shoot a moose, though you can. But you should know the country that you live in. And you shouldn't just be clustered near the border of like Detroit. What?
Quick reminder, gang, smash that like, hit subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Let's get back to it.
Spread out a little. And people who have a little bit of contact with the natural world and the animals that live in it are a little bit clear thinking, I have to say. And I met a bunch of them tonight in the photo line. And you could just feel the vibe coming off them. These are people who are taking the long view on life because they know what it is, and they know how precious it is, and they know how little control they have. Because when you farm, you really don't have control. And I don't care how many agronomy degrees you have or how clever you are in your planning, in the end, you don't control the weather. Despite, the really fierce attempts of the US government to control the weather, they don't. And neither does Justin Trudeau. He doesn't, because he's not God. I don't want to blow his mind or anything. And when you realize that you're not God, you have hit upon the root of all wisdom. I am not God. All goodness flows from that realization. If you don't reach that conclusion, then in the end, you find yourself very tempted to commit genocide. Because it's true. And everyone who has reached the conclusion, the same conclusion, I am God. So let's just start there. So anyway, I love this country and I admire its natural resources. And I think you could have one of the greatest economies in the world with a population of 40 million and some of the deepest energy reserves in the world and mineral deposits in the world. And I've been to a lot of your extraction sites, I'm just saying. And, extraction is an ugly business by its nature, but Canadians, true to form, have really done their best to make it as tidy and respectful as they can. And I've seen it firsthand. You've never seen more conscientious energy extraction than in Canada. They apologize for taking it out. It's great. So I love that. And the other thing I love about Canada are the people, and I love the thing that other people mock Canadians for, which is their politeness. Their sort of Anglo commitment to never offending you no matter what, no matter how much they hate you. Even the CBC today, they were sort of apologizing for calling me a Nazi, well, we love him, but we have to have another meeting and we got to do another segment on intersectionality. And obviously, they know that I'm a racist because I don't believe in climate change and I'm not trans, because that makes sense. Obvious. And that's the sum total of their entire programming schedule. Flip onto the CBC. In breaking news today, you're a racist. Oh, eh? Yeah. So obviously, they're loathsome and bent on my destruction, but they're very polite about it, which I appreciate. I do, because I believe in, there's Theo Fleury right there. Without my glasses, I see him. And I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. And I strive to be a politer person, and I'm not always, and I obviously, can offend people and use profanity, but in my heart, as an Anglo, honestly, I really strive to be polite. And you all pull it off in a way that's just remarkable and admirable. And thank you for that, for adding to the sum total of civility in the world. But thank you. But here's my concern. And it's part of a larger concern that people's best qualities are leveraged against them. And that what unscrupulous people in power do, if they're smart, is they don't dispatch an army of young men in tight uniforms to goose step through your town because it's a little bit too obvious. You've seen that movie. And you sort of know what happens next. You take up arms, you form a resistance, you drive the people out, and freedom returns, right? You guys have seen that movie. It's been done about 50,000 times. And if only that's what we were facing, because that is straightforward. That's the kind of masculine expression of fascism. But the West is now facing a far slyer opponent which is the feminine expression of fascism, the Chrystia Freeland version of fascism. Yes, yes. And I know a lot about this because I knew Chrystia Freeland when she, was a journalist at the Financial Times, whose name shall forever live in infamy for employing her. And I remember even then thinking, this woman is not bright at all. But boy, does she have high self-esteem. I don't think I've ever even seen, it's off this, I don't know what the self-esteem measurement scale is, the Richter scale. But her self-esteem was literally unassailable. It was bomb-proof. If a nuclear bomb dropped on your town, you could hide beneath Chrystia Freeland's self-esteem and live. There's like nothing you could do to shake it. Nothing. No amount of evidence of her stupidity and wrong decisions and idiotic views could dissuade her from the core belief that she was awesome and you were not. And I kind of stood back in admiration. So I guess I shouldn't be totally shocked that she's helping to run and destroy your country. But she's doing it in her signature way. She's not getting on the CBC, her media outlet, which like almost all outlets in this wonderful oppressed country is run by the government. It's all state media. It's Albania 1985. And I'm sure we have people whose families were refugees from Albania, welcome, and you know what I'm talking about. But at least you could say of the Albanian leader in 1985, Enver Hoxha, that when he went full fascist, he just like didn't mince words. Shut up and obey or we'll shoot you. Chrystia Freeland is wise enough, clever enough, in her serpent-like way, to make it all about your protection and safety. All about your protection and safety. No, we're just trying to help you. That's why you're in shackles.
Exactly.
You're being arrested right now for your safety. Oh, it's for the common good. Don't worry, you'll understand. I always want to say, Mrs. Freeland, can I go to the bathroom? No, you can't. And you can just imagine her taking great glee as your fourth grade self wet his pants in class as Mrs. Freeland refuses to let you go to the bathroom. So that's kind of more diabolical than what we've seen in previous generations, and it's much more effective in a committedly polite country like Canada, because you don't know that it's happening. And because a demagogue like that, or your completely bizarre, cross-dressing prime minister, it's true, Prime Minister Blackface, I didn't wear blackface, he did. He 3 times, thank you, 3 times, and I want to thank you for your commitment to the facts. The Prime Minister, their attack on your rights, which is an attack on you and your children, is cloaked in the language of therapy, self-help, and compassion. You're doing this for the common good. Don't you care about the elderly? And of
Canadian federal politics are absurd, guys. Smash that like, hit subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, leave a comment if you have something to share. Thank you so much for watching. Aaron Canadian Looney, check you in the next video, gang. Ciao for now.